Let me start the video. Let me start.
Okay, please do. You have tuned in to another episode of Angst. You haven't learned your lesson yet. We're here. We're not going anywhere.
No.
And you're subscribed at this point, hopefully. If you haven't already subscribed, it'd be great if you did, because it would just pop up in your apps.
Yeah, just hit that subscribe button.
This episode brought to you by... Is it Perrier?
Perrier, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Perrier. Grapefruit, specifically, to be Pacific.
I'm hitting the lime.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This week... Oh, well, still hosted by Donnie Davis and Stephanie Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm Donnie.
Stephanie's wearing a cute sweater. She is sitting in my spot.
Am I?
Yeah. But it's okay. This week...
Is that why I feel...
What? This way you feel what? Extra handsome?
Yes, extra handsome. I was going to say superior.
This week, we are going to be talking about OCD.
Obsessive-Compulsive
Order. The dictionary defines that as a disorder in which people have recurring, unwanted thoughts, ideas, or sensations. That would be classified as an obsession. To get rid of the thoughts, they feel driven to do something repetitively. As you can guess, that would be classified as a compulsion.
Compulsive. Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
No, I'm tracking.
Sometimes we start the show and then we define the thing and we're both like, oh, that's not exactly what I was expecting.
That's exactly what I was expecting.
Great.
I've watched a couple documentaries about it.
Great.
My first one was MTV's True Life.
Shout out to True Life.
True Life, which led me into the show Intervention.
Yes.
I've learned quite a bit from both of those shows.
So I said previously
What?
that we learned a lot about mental health from watching television. And that doesn't sound impressive at all.
It sounds so stupid.
But you can't deny that you and I, call it the early to late mid 2010s, learned a lot about mental health disorders.
I started watching MTV True Life in the 2000s, dog.
Yeah, I mean, you had cable way before I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was your first exposure to it.
Yeah, I saw a whole episode on it. It was wild.
At that time, did you think that you had it, or did you remember having bouts of it?
Oh, for sure. But not as much as the people that were on the show. Mine was like OCD LTE light.
Got it.
Not 5G plus.
Sorry. I blanked out for half a second, and then I came back while you were making that comparison, and it tickled me. So, sorry, I kind of derailed us there. I don't feel like we really need to make a distinction between what an obsession is and versus what a compulsion is. But
Yes.
An obsession is an unwanted, distressing thought.
Okay.
A compulsion is a repetitive behavior or mental act in response to an obsession.
You get a compulsion because of an obsession.
You do a compulsion because you have an obsession.
Okay.
According to this.
All right.
Common misconceptions.
Pause. Have you ever dealt with OCD? Because until you haven't really lived, in my opinion.
Never like if I don't do this thing, something bad's going to happen. Or
okay.
When I'm stressed out, I declutter and I organize things. I don't know if that's the same. I don't think it is.
Are you doing it because you think if I don't do this, something bad's going to happen?
No, I'm doing it.
And then it's not it. You just read the definition.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I said. I don't think I do. I have compulsive behaviors. I don't think that they are in any way tied to any kind of obsession.
I thought compulsive went with obsession.
In the definition of obsessive-compulsive, it does. But I think you can have a compulsive behavior without it being OCD.
Okay. I have had OCD, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready to get into that?
I forgot to bring the viewing audience into this. First episode ever with video.
We hope it works.
Welcome. Yeah, I hope you can see us. I hope I don't look like a hunched-over goon trying to reach this microphone. I'm going to fix that by next time. But sorry, go ahead into your thing.
Into my thing? Is it time for me to bring that up?
I thought you were going into it.
Okay.
You interrupted me.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was going to talk about the common misconceptions of OCD, and you were just like, well, let me. So I thought you had something.
Well, let me share my experience with it.
Please do.
So I think my first, as a kid, and my mom still talks about this, I would take showers all the time. She was like, oh, she's just, doesn't like to be dirty.
Was it showers or baths?
Showers. Baths were an adult thing.
I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'd go outside and play, and then I would come in and take a shower. I don't remember. I remember doing that, but I don't remember like me thinking if I don't do this, something bad's gonna happen. But I was very obsessed with doing that.
Taking showers.
Had to.
Interesting.
Now I'm washing my hair twice a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Shorty's on the opposite end of that spectrum.
Opposite end of that. So that was my first. But then also I had a food OCD. It'd be like, if I eat this, I will throw up. Isn't that wild?
Is it because, did you like eat that thing once and throw up? Or did you just have some kind of a tie
I would
to
open
it?
the fridge. I think I've talked about this. I'd open the fridge and I'd look and I'd be like, well, if I eat that spaghetti, I'm definitely going to throw up. If I eat...
How old were you at this time?
I mean, for as long as I can remember.
Wow.
Yeah. Not so much anymore.
I feel so lucky that I've never cared about throwing up.
Yeah, you really are lucky. I've been fighting that battle today.
And
my stomach has been unwell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But good for you.
I feel like the more you talk about it, the more people reach out and they're like, I'm actually terrified of throwing up.
Yeah,
too.
I think it's a really common thing.
For me, I'm like, I've made myself throw up before just so that I can be done with whatever I'm feeling.
Well, funny story. Our daughter in the car this morning, we were playing Would You Rather. And she asked me, would you rather have a tummy ache or throw up? And I went, ugh, I'd rather have a tummy ache. And I thought, oh boy, I'm setting a precedent here. And I said, well, wait. Is it just a one-time real quick throw up and your tummy will feel better? Yes. I was like, oh, all day, of course. But I need to ask for forgiveness right now because I didn't mean that at all. But I didn't want her
You're
to...
just trying not to plant a seed.
Yeah, I didn't want to plant any seeds, so I had to backtrack. Didn't mean it. Baby girl, if you ever hear this one day, this was one of the only times I've ever lied to you.
Do you think your dad was afraid of throwing up?
No, that man ralphed like nothing.
He's just afraid of getting sick.
He just didn't like being sick. Nobody likes being sick.
Yeah.
Or if he was like... I remember one time I had a tummy bug. I'm in the room and I'm like, oh, I throw up. And he's like, I'm too busy to get sick. And now that I'm adult, I'm like, I get it. It's like, I got this coming up and this coming up.
Right.
Yeah. So no, I don't think he was. Anyway, so that was one of them. For a very, very long time into my adult years, it would go through phases. Then I talked about this already on the show. My mom worked nights.
Yeah. Get into that.
I was late teens, last one at home, and I would clean the kitchen and do the dishes, scrub around the faucet, because I was like, if I don't do this, something bad's going to happen to my mom. And I was just on the nights she worked.
Right.
The nights she was home, nothing, right? Maybe my dad got the credit for doing those dishes. I don't know. We never talked about it.
He would have claimed it too.
I would have let him have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was one heavy. And then I still have these tendencies where it's like I'll go to, like if I'm fixing our daughter's hair, right? I'll go to grab ponytails and I'll be like, if I grab this color, something bad might happen. So I should grab this color. But there are times when I'm like, Steph, don't be like that. Like if it's for me, if I'm going to grab a shirt and I'm like, if I wear this shirt, whatever's going to happen. And I'm like, just grab the shirt and wear it.
You'll just make yourself wear it.
Maybe 20% of the time.
You'll only make yourself wear it 20% of the time?
I'll only,
Got
it's
it.
not often, but when I feel like,
Feeling a little extra.
when I feel pretty powerful, I'm like, don't you do it, you dog.
Right.
But I'm not doing it when it's like an OCD about anybody that I love externally.
Gotcha.
I'm going with them every time. You're still doing that?
Yeah. Oh, now we're
get it?
talking. I think we're good now.
Good.
I don't have to crick my neck anymore. Thank you for sharing those experiences. I don't have anything like that, thankfully.
Good for you. That's nice.
But you still, to this day, have some of that stuff.
For sure.
Do you think the thing that you have with like chicken and meats is a OCD thing, or is it really just a just a concern for eating cooked meats.
Well, let's go back, because maybe, so when I am so sketchy about eating chicken, it's just, I've always, for as long as I can remember, I don't even know that I've ever gotten ill from eating chicken.
Right. You do
But
know people that have, though.
I know people that have, and just for as long as I can remember, I've never trusted chicken.
You don't want that smoke with chicken.
If I'm eating chicken, I'm like, it tastes too much like chicken. Something's weird.
Yeah, if you guys know, like a properly cooked piece of chicken is juicy and maybe not juicy, but we'll use the M word, moist, flavorful. Steph wants that thing to be like chicken flavored
Dust.
beef jerky.
Yeah.
Softish beef jerky is Steph's ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have you check my meat. Because a part of me is like, well, it's on him.
I think probably one time I have served you slightly undercooked chicken.
That's all it takes, is a slight
and that is all
undercooked
it
chicken.
takes. But what's funny is, like, I'll be cooking. I'm out there on the grill or in the skillet or whatever you call it. I'm cutting them all in half, making sure they're good. But then once it's on her plate, I then again have to. And she'll show it to me a couple times a meal.
I'll take a bite, and we're getting closer to the middle, so.
She'll show it to me, and I'll be like, what? I don't know why I don't just, sometimes I'm a little bit rude about that. I need to be better about that. Well, because I already checked it.
It doesn't matter. I know you checked it.
Here I am. I'm like 3 chicken tenders deep. I'm like, it's good. I've eaten it.
I'm just, you gotta go with it. Take your own advice.
Right here, right now, I commit to being better about that. I don't know why it frustrates me.
It's not a personal attack.
I know, but it feels like it because I cooked it, I think. And checked it. And then checked it again before I put it on your plate.
I hope you know, if I cook chicken, it'll be the same exercise. Hey, could you check this? Take a bite of this.
I'm realizing right now that I was taking it personally. And I'm also committing to you that I won't give you a hard time next time.
And I'm committing to you that it's not personal.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Does that summate your personal experience with OCD?
As far as I know, I'm sure there's others. I'm just, this is how I live.
Okay. Common misconceptions.
Yeah.
Debunk the idea that being neat or particular automatically means you have OCD.
I hate that.
Hold on. I actually have a story about that. I don't want to share it. It kind of makes me laugh. Hopefully it's not mean. I went to church in like high school, and this lady who I would classify her as a little bit messy.
Why is that funny? I've never heard this.
I remember in church, this church had ceiling fans. Real classy joint.
Don't they all?
I don't know. And one of the lights was out, and she kept on going on about how her OCD, she can't get over it because of her OCD. And I remember in my head thinking, like, if you were OCD, I feel like there'd be other signs at this point. So
like
then,
what?
not being messy.
Okay.
So then, through some kind of a youth group activity, we end up at that lady's house. And let me tell y'all, I'm not going to say her name.
Names. Do it.
I honestly don't even remember her name, but oh my goodness, I have not been in a messier house in my life. I'm like, are you only OCD about light bulbs? Like, what is happening right now? So I think that would classify her as, in no way does she have OCD.
No.
It has nothing to do with light bulbs.
I feel like she knew she was a messy person, and she doesn't want people to think she's messy, so she said she was OCD about a light bulb. Yeah. She wouldn't last a day in my shoes.
She could never stomp in your Air Force Ones.
What was messy about her?
Hair, clothes didn't really fit. I don't remember her teeth.
Then they must have been fine.
Yeah. Moving on. OCD is not just about cleanliness or orderliness.
It's
not.
It's not, because I got the clothes thing, the food thing.
Approximately 1 to 2% of the global population is affected by OCD.
I don't believe that. These numbers that you're getting, this is not an attack.
I'm not taking it as one.
They're just very low, because I think, once again, let's circle back to the point of all this. No one talks about it.
Yeah, I think we're dealing with only reported numbers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually just talking to a coworker the other day, and he classified himself as OCD, and he said, it was obviously an exaggeration, but he said if he's anywhere inside of Texas or Louisiana, he drives home to go to the bathroom. He doesn't do public bathrooms. And I mean,
I support that.
I don't blame him.
But you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, I've unloaded on a number of
Don't
public bathrooms.
say unloaded.
Use the bathroom.
Okay, gross.
You can unload pee-pee too.
Anyway.
OCD often coexists with other mental health conditions.
For sure.
Like anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
OCD symptoms typically begin in late childhood or early adolescence.
Yes.
Both males and females are affected, but onset may be earlier in males.
Why
knows?
is that?
Who knows where that comes from? And I didn't ask ChatGPT to expand on that particular factoid.
We should get ChatGPT to be a guest on the show sometime.
Unofficial sponsor of the show.
Friend of the show.
Yeah. Causes and risk factors.
Pause.
Go
It's
ahead.
funny to me. I think all of this stuff is tied back to hormones. Truly. We're going to get somebody on here to talk about it. I've already got somebody dialed up. I got a source.
Okay. Did you
But
talk
we've
to-
got to. Well, I haven't yet. But
Okay.
I just when I say that, I mean I know. Who
You have
I'm
someone
gonna
in
call.
mind that you want to
Yes.
come on. Yeah.
I think so much of that plays a part in hormones, and
I'm
I cannot wait to unravel all of this via hormones.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Causes and risk factors. There are certain biological factors, such as brain structure and the way your brain functions, as well as genetic predispositions,
Oh, so this is something you could be born with.
according to this.
All
Yes.
right, so maybe this one's not a hormone thing.
Maybe I think the word genetic predisposition means that it's more possible for you to get it. I don't know if you're born with it, but it's like you're more apt to get it, maybe,
Okay, more prone.
depending on your hormones and environment and all that.
Okay.
Envi-
Do you know what bothers me? When this has happened to me a lot. Okay.
Listening.
Hey, before we eat, I'm going to go wash my hands. Not you.
Okay.
You're so OCD. No, I have manners and I'm going to wash my hands before I eat.
Do you classify that as manners? I feel like it's just hygiene. Like, who
Sure.
knows-
Call it what you want.
Who knows what's on your hands?
Grandma says wash up before dinner. What do? You washing your face or your armpits?
Behind your ears?
You're washing your hands.
Your hands.
Because guess what? When you're coming to the table, say Garcon brings out a bucket of bread.
Been a minute since we talked about Garcon.
Garcon, friend of the show,
Welcome back.
brings out a bucket of bread. Would you rather my clean hands disperse the bread for the table?
I don't think most people think about it or care about it.
I don't get it.
Me either.
I don't get it. That's
Yeah.
not OCD. Or we got a buddy. You know, he'll say, "Oh, you know, people just think I'm OCD because I like things neat and tidy." No. Is it like going to cripple your day if it's not neat and tidy?
Right.
No, you just like things
You
neat
just
and tidy.
You're
It doesn't
particular.
you're not obsessing about it. You're not like, "Hey, before we move on from this conversation," it's like, "I'm just going to handle this myself while we talk.
Right.
I'll excuse myself from the table to wash my hands." Like, people just love throwing that OCD thing out when you do something that is like in good hygiene that they're not doing. Again, not a personal attack.
Well, this goes back to the misconception, right? It's like just because you go to a conference and you shake 10 people's hands and then you want to wash your hands, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you.
Oh,
Yeah, the worst.
the worst.
And-
And then like, "Hey, I know we've all shook hands together. Let's get into these finger foods.
Let's go get some chips and guac.
Don't invite me. I'm not the one for that event."
It is weird to me still how many grown-ups will be like, "Here, have a bite of my food," or "Here, you should try my drink also." And again, no judgment if that's what you
Yeah,
do
honestly,
or if that's what you partake in. Just don't take any offense whenever I'm like, "Oh, no, thanks. I'll just order my own."
yeah, we don't think you're gross. It's just we don't do that.
Yeah.
We drink after each other,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Right.
There's only one person I'm swapping spit with in this life, and that's you, big guy.
I was going to say a swap the spit thing, but you had already gotten onto me about saying that other joke, so I thought you would think it was gross.
It is kind of gross when you think about the
Swapping
term
spit.
swapping spit.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Sorry, everyone listening to this.
Gross.
environmental factors that
Oh,
could play into it are
Okay.
traumatic or stressful life events, childhood physical or sexual abuse. I would just have classified that under the traumatic life
Yeah.
events. I didn't even want to read that, but it just kind of started coming out of my mouth. Traumatic, again, we got to go back to this. Traumatic sounds like a really big fancy word, but it can be anything. It can be not getting enough attention from your parents. It can be
Not feeling heard.
it doesn't have to mean anything, seeing somebody die or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Other factors. Behavioral theories suggest that certain behaviors can be reinforced over time, leading to the development of OCD patterns. Cognitive theories focus on how individuals
Oh my God.
individuals with OCD misinterpret their thoughts.
Break that down for me.
Well, let's see if I can, because that's the part that I asked ChatGPT to expand on.
Oh, and did it?
Let's see here. These focus on the beliefs of those with OCD. For instance, an individual might misinterpret an intrusive thought as being highly significant, leading to extreme reactions and behaviors. Overestimation of threat and the belief that one can and should have control over one's thoughts are cognitive distortions commonly seen in OCD. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is like a heavy control thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of anxiety is a control thing, but this, like, for real, it's like, in order for me to control this outcome, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Which is absurd when I say it out loud.
It is absurd.
I have been saying absurd so much this week.
You must be having a wild week.
I feel like
experiencing a lot of-
I'm putting, like, absurdity into, like,
Yeah.
I need to quit using the word absurd, but there's been a lot of absurd things happening.
Well, I was going to say, based off what you just said, if you think about it, all anxiety comes from seeking to control things that you can't control.
Yeah.
If you focus on what you can control, which is your reaction to things and your attitude, that kind of changes everything.
But often I feel like I can't control those things. Not often, but there are times when I feel like I can't control those things.
Interesting. Touche. Did that explain the question that you wanted?
Yeah.
Was there anything else about all of the different factors that can play into OCD that you wanted me to expand on? Because that's what I got here.
No, I mean, it makes sense with the trauma and the abuse. So much comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious. We really got to get our girl Holly in here to ask her some of these hard questions. Like, what is it about, like, abuse where it's like, I'm going to be OCD now?
Well, if you think about what we just said, you don't want to be abused again, so you're going to try to control every aspect of your life so that it can't happen again.
And here's what's wild is, for me personally, I can say this. I know I have no control over the outcome of things, right? Even by me choosing to wear this shirt or not choosing this ponytail holder.
But it feels like you're controlling something.
It feels like, and in my head, I'm like, you're such a doink if you think doing this is going to make a difference. And I'm like, we're going with it. Best I can do.
Yeah.
So silly.
I don't know about silly is the right word, right?
Well,
it's a real
it feels
thing.
silly when I say it out loud for the reasons why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Or like, how about the OCD people that wash their hands?
Yeah, I was actually going to go in. The next thing is the common obsessions and compulsions.
Yeah, what are those? What are those?
But before I do, oh man, I had a good train of thought there and it's gone.
sorry.
It's okay. If you think about it, all of these things are behaviors. If we're right about that, are seeking to control things, but you're like very much out of control
Of yourself.
with the fact that you're doing those things. Isn't it?
Isn't it?
Common obsessions and compulsions. The obsessions. Fears of contamination. Fears of harming oneself or others. That's a sad one. Need for fears of harming oneself or others. That's interesting.
I think it's an intrusive thought thing.
Yeah. We did talk about that on intrusive thoughts, right? That's very much tied to OCD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're fighting that intrusive thought by doing this. If
Yeah.
I do this, then I won't do this. But it's like, you're likely not going to do that anyway.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Go ahead.
Need for symmetry or exactness. Now, see, again, I don't have OCD, but if I was going to classify myself under one, I would have that. I really like for things to be symmetrical and or...
Okay, but you can't, though.
I'm not.
A lot of people will be like, oh, yeah, that one's mean. It's like, but is it?
It's not me. I'm
Are
just
you
saying if I was going
afraid
to have
something
one.
bad's going to happen if your stuff's not straight?
I just like for things to be nice.
That's right. You keep it nice.
Unwanted taboo thoughts related to harm, religion, or sexuality.
Okay.
Those are the obsessions. So there's people out there just washing their hands because they can't stop thinking about naughty stuff. Compulsions. Hand washing. Ding, 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 ding. Checking. Example, doors, appliances. Oh, does every woman have OCD with that freaking hair dryer thing? Hair straightener?
It's with your hair straightener. And I've been catching myself slipping. Like, girl, don't check it. You've unplugged it.
And you're finally not...
Twice.
I've never found it on when you've sent me from the car back into the house to check on it.
Do you know another thing every night that I do? Actually, I don't know that I have done it in the last couple weeks. I know you've set the alarm. I know I've set the alarm.
Uh-huh.
I know the door's locked.
Yeah.
Close our eyes. We both start twitching asleep and I go, did you lock the doors? Yes. Did you set the alarm?
I think...
Yes. Can you double check?
Based off memes, I think that's very much a female trait.
Yeah. Nuts.
Like wait for the husband to be almost asleep. And then...
Well, we're almost asleep too, for the record. But I'm like, I have to ask because it'll be the one time.
And then, unfortunately, that gets reinforced because one time out of 100, I'll be like, oh, I didn't actually set it.
You know, I do actually thought of another compulsion I have.
What?
I have to check my mom's alarm. I have access to that. I have to check it before I go to sleep.
But you're also like doing your due diligence to help take care of your mom.
I can't help it. I have to check.
Yeah.
She is capable.
Yeah.
She is.
No,
so
she
what
is.
What am I going to do?
Right.
There are times I've turned it on, maybe a little early in the night, but I'm like, I got to mark this off my list.
She walks out to the garage and everything goes off. More compulsions. Counting or repeating actions. Mental compulsions like praying or counting silently.
Okay.
You got any of those?
I don't think so.
Impact of OCD. On daily life, disruption in routines, work or relationships, avoidance of certain places or situations.
I don't know that it's affected me like physically, but not those around me, I don't think.
There are emotional tolls listed as well. Feelings of shame, guilt, embarrassment about obsessions and compulsions, overwhelming anxiety, and distress. Mm-hmm. Have you ever felt shame?
I didn't because I never felt shame about it because I didn't really realize what it was. Like when I was a kid and a teenager, I just thought that in this scenario, because people kind of like poked fun at it, I just thought it was the way that I was. And I wasn't shameful in who I was.
Right. Good.
No.
Management and treatment options. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Right back to that.
There
That's
she
in
is
every single
again.
episode. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show for sure.
CBT. Exposure and response prevention as a
Sorry.
specific method. It's not even supposed to do that anymore. You bypassed my safeguards. Exposure and response prevention. Don't you not believe in exposure therapy?
Why do you say that?
I thought for some reason there was a time where you were dealing with one of those things and like maybe your counselor or somebody.
Therapist. It was when I saw a psychologist and we were talking about the throw up thing because it was really affecting my life big time. She was like, she was like, watch the movie Fargo. And I was like, what? Yeah, she throws up in the movie. Just watch it. And I thought, ma'am, if you think that's going to fix me, I don't think I went back.
Yeah, that's
not quite exposure therapy.
Well, technically, you are exposing
It
yourself
was
to
the
some
lightest
vomit.
vom scene I've ever seen in my life. And for somebody that has a problem with it, it did nothing for me.
Maybe she was trying to tiptoe you into it. The next movie would have been like The Exorcist or whatever.
I would have thought that like pregnancy would have cured me of that,
Mm-hmm.
of like being scared to throw up because I didn't have control over throwing up,
Right.
and
But
it didn't help at all.
Didn't make it worse, though?
There were days I was very scared. So like when you're pregnant, supposedly, if you get too hungry, it makes you sick.
Okay.
I never found truth in any of that. They say always keep something in your stomach. Well, I'm sorry, that's what I'm throwing up. You know what I mean? I'd eat goldfish crackers, throw up, backyard. Just hellacious. Lunch, minding my business, eating, throw up.
Minding your business.
Out of nowhere. Remember?
Yeah, that
It was the
weird.
worst. It was the worst throw up I've ever had in my life.
So I'm not understanding what you're claiming here.
I was exposed to involuntary vomiting for almost 9 months. It was,
No, not that. I thought you were saying like you think that they're wrong for saying you should eat when you're pregnant.
well, yeah, not that you should eat, but they say like don't let your stomach be empty because that's when you feel sick.
Ah.
Well, when my stomach was empty was when I wouldn't throw up.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was very exposed to it with myself, and it didn't help. So if that's not going to help, I don't know what is. It's not as bad as it used to be. Like this morning, I really thought I was going to puke. And I thought, okay, here's what I can control, where I'm going to throw up. And I'm not pregnant, just for the record. I have an upset stomach. I thought I can control where I'm going to throw up.
Right.
Right? And it was all I had was coffee. I was like, I'm just going to hang out in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like the least stressful environment. If I were to puke, I could just in the drain.
Yeah,
really
this-
don't want to.
Water would take it away.
Yeah. Whole best case, it was just going to be coffee. So like I was able to empower myself and say, well, you can choose where you do this.
I like it.
It didn't. I don't know that it helped. I never puked. But I still don't feel, I haven't eaten all day. Like my tummy does not feel good.
Yeah.
But I did have some more coffee and it was fine. And I wonder why my stomach doesn't feel good.
I'll just put more
Just
caffeine
put
into
more
my
acid in
empty
my stomach. But I was still very scared.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay.
You had a pretty cool head about it.
But not really.
I want to say, no, I mean, comparatively speaking, there was a time in our lives where you would have needed, like, to lay in a quiet room for an hour and, like, have, you know what I mean? Like, there was a time where...
Oh, I did need that this morning. I just knew I couldn't get it. Right, you would have had to have stayed home with me.
Yeah.
It would have had to have been a whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more tough than I used to be. But internally, she's still fighting the battle.
Yeah. I'm struggling with telling the story, but I think I'm not going to
Tell it.
No.
Say it. What is it?
But there was one time I was at the gym, and I got a text from you that said, you should come home. And in my head, I was thinking, for some reason, like, fun stuff was going to happen.
Of course. Dudes, of course you did.
And I left the gym as quickly as anyone has ever left a gym. And get home, get up the stairs.
Put a little
And-
Axe spray on in the truck.
Right. And you were just in the tub, like on the verge of throwing up. And it was kind of like, oh, I'm here for you.
You're like, hey, if you could be a little more clear next
You're
time.
like, why are you naked?
I don't remember any of that.
It was a long time ago.
Do you remember when I was pregnant? I just quit telling you when I felt like I was going to throw up. Like I just was done.
Yeah.
I had spent the whole morning in the bathtub because I was about to throw up. I took my goldfish in the bath, had it all. I was fine as long as I was in the tub. I get out and I'm like, oh boy. So I quickly like throw some clothes on. I just go sit on the edge of the cement on the backyard.
I do remember that. I remember
and
coming home
just
to that.
screamed into the yard. You come out and you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm literally not okay.
You werewolfed into the grass.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Anyway, and that didn't cure me. So
Yeah.
I don't know if exposure therapy is the right thing for me, but maybe it is for somebody else. Actually, I do know somebody who it worked on. She was obsessed about washing her hands. And so her therapist, during the therapy session, said, okay, there is a gas station next door. I want you to walk next door. Here is $1. Buy a candy bar. Pay for it, unwrap the candy bar, hold it with your bare hands, and eat it.
Yikes.
Yikes.
I wouldn't even want to do that.
I think that I would just be like, yeah, let me go do that real quick, and then I would just skirt home.
Steal their dollar.
I'll just leave the dollar at the door.
Yeah, I would just be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, like,
Come up with
you're
another
nuts. Yeah. This isn't covered by my insurance. Let's come up with something else.
Yeah.
But it worked. I mean,
Well,
I think
good
it's
for
just doing it, knowing you'll be
her.
okay. I accidentally drank after my mom Wednesday night. Been thinking about that ever since.
We got to get this.
Sorry.
You handed me the glass and you said, I accidentally drank my mom's drink, but I didn't swallow it.
I spit it right back in the straw.
Just handed it to me.
And no offense to my mother. She's a nurse. God only knows what's...
She gets exposed to more than we
Yeah.
do. The only medication... Go ahead.
We can move on.
The only medication listed to treat it
Oh.
are SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. I did a lot of research on these one time for an episode. What?
Yeah, go ahead.
For an episode, and then we didn't end up doing that episode, and most of that information has since evacuated my cerebellum.
Well, let's go back to documentaries.
Okay.
We watched one about SSRIs. They're anti-anxiety. They're like, antidepressants. What's the one people take all the time? Xanax. It's things like that. That's what that is. So that's just kind of like taking the edge off so you don't think about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how it works chemically in your brain.
Yeah.
But
Did it again.
mindfulness and relaxation techniques are another management and treatment option.
Wait, so I'm sitting at my desk working today, trying to think about everything but the fact that my mouth feels like it wants to throw up.
Yeah.
I saw this Instagram reel where it said people that listened to this certain song, their anxiety was reduced by 60%.
Was it a binaural beat?
Well, I don't know what that means, but it was this song, Weightless by Marconi Union.
Play it. If they sue us, they
Oh,
sue us.
I cut it.
It's got binaural beat vibes for sure.
Yeah, so I played it, but I also kept working, so I don't know that I got the effect of just sitting in it. But I'm going to try it again sometime.
There's supposed to be...
Weightless by Marconi Union.
as I understand it, binaural beat is like two different frequency of music playing at the same time. And like different frequencies trigger different things. That's what I listened. Remember how last night I told you I stayed awake for like 2 hours longer than I meant to?
Yeah.
I had binaural beats playing. I was just in the zone.
Guy.
Yeah. So it didn't help you, or it did?
I don't think it helped. I still feel the same way.
Wait, did you say about anxiety?
Yeah.
Oh, because you had anxiety about the feeling sick.
I don't know. I just thought I'm just going to try anything that works.
Gotcha.
And then I got busy.
Okay.
So maybe it helped me focus on what I was supposed to be doing.
There you go. Meditation, deep breathing exercises, and progressive muscle relaxation. I have no idea, realizing just now, what progressive muscle relaxation means.
Is it just like rolling your shoulders back? You know how they say just
like what they
roll
do
your
in
shoulders
yoga,
back.
like as a
Yeah.
warm up?
Yeah.
Probably.
I made that up. That's my best guess, and I said it very factually too.
Yeah, you said it like you knew what it was.
Nah, I don't. Never heard it in my life.
That's one of your superpowers. Mm-hmm. Support groups. The value of connecting with others who understand the condition. You know what?
This is a support group.
Everybody needs support groups for something.
Angst is a support group.
It truly is. We're here for you. You're here for us.
We're in it together, guys.
There's value in our connection.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, the final thing. What?
Oh, you were throaty on that.
The final thing. Tips for friends and family.
Yes, this is good. Yes, this is one of my favorite points. I've been waiting for like an exciting point, and this is it. What number is it?
I hope
8?
not to let you down. Yeah.
Oh.
Being supportive and understanding.
How so? Like with me. Give an example of how you are supportive and understanding with me, which I think we found out you're not supportive when it comes to the chicken thing.
Well, anytime I'm at the gym and you say you need me, I'll come right home. I think that I have sat next to you in the bath
Yes.
till you feel better for a lot of hours of our lives.
You have.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Do you want me to list more things?
No, I'm just saying like I
Don't
guess
judge the person. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever they're feeling, even if you can't relate to it and you've never felt it, just treat it like it's real because it's real to them.
Yes. The chicken is raw to me.
Yeah. Right. Avoid belittling or minimizing the person's experience. That kind of is exactly what I was just saying. It's if you're not a very compassionate person, I can't imagine what it would be like for a person like you to be with a person who...
what do you mean a person like me?
A person who's affected by these things.
Okay.
A person who's affected by stuff like this, where you can't see the problem. You have never felt the problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a very empathetic person, I guess those people just don't end up being together because...
I bet they do.
Oof, I can't imagine it.
That's sad to think about.
The scenario I just made up?
Here.
Yeah. Encourage treatment and be patient with progress.
Yeah, patience is the key.
Now, serious question.
Yeah.
How would somebody need to approach you to encourage you to seek treatment? Or could they?
I don't think that they could.
That's what I was thinking too.
Unless it is directly negatively affecting their life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can say anything to me about treatment.
Yeah. I feel like a person has to want treatment to have any kind of openness to seeking treatment.
Yeah. I think just talking about it. Hey, how are you feeling today? I know you were counting quite a bit. Is there something on your mind?
Yeah.
Right. Saying the counting's like their OCD thing.
No, yeah, I
Right.
followed what you mean. I saw you wash your hands 15 times before we ate.
No, you don't say that. You say, I've noticed you've washed your hands quite a bit today. Is everything okay? Is there something on your mind you'd like to talk about? I'm
nice.
here whenever you're ready.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to get specific with, like, hey, I've been counting over here. Driving me nuts every time I hear that faucet. What's your problem?
It's the third time I bought soap this week.
Have you seen our water bill? That's not the way to approach it.
Yeah, right. That would be belittling.
Yes.
And not minimizing, but belittling.
Yeah.
Just making sure there's nothing on it.
And maybe they don't want to bring it up because, like, for me, I feel like if I bring up a worry, then it's a real worry. But if I keep it inside, then it's something that I can just deal with. But that doesn't ever help. It just prolongs it. So giving them that space to bring it up and to talk about it is sometimes all somebody needs.
Yeah. That's nice. That's good advice.
Yeah.
I just found this whenever I asked ChatGPT to expand on that one thing. There was a cool thing on here that I wanted to read.
Yeah.
Not cool, but just interesting. Cultural expectations and values. Societies with high emphasis on cleanliness, perfection, or certain moral or religious codes might inadvertently contribute to the development or expression of OCD symptoms. For example, in cultures that place a premium on purity, obsessions around contamination might be more prevalent. I wonder if that's kind of like the idea of, like, you tell your mind, don't think of a purple elephant, and you, like, cannot not think of the purple elephant.
Right.
So it's like, the more you try to suppress something, the more it...
Yes. Well, we learned that with Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
Just address it and tell yourself you can think about the purple elephant if you want, and then you just don't think about it.
Oh, yeah, I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about thinking about the elephant. Yeah. Okay, so that actually is the end of the...
Dude, great conversation. You did excellent. I did it again. It's these chords. You got me crammed up in here like a freaking Dean. I don't even like sardines. My stomach's upset.
Steph gave me constructive criticism that my outlines needed more facts.
More depth.
And depth. And I'll let you guys decide if there's a difference.
I thought it was really great. I liked it a lot. Thank you for doing that, even if it was just for me.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, are you pushing off the table a whole lot? This thing keeps on shaking around.
Oh, yeah. I got my foot on here, and I'm going 90-0 today.
It's all good. I wanted to say a special thank you to anyone joining us via video.
If it even works, we don't know.
We might just be talking into nothing right now. But no matter what, it's recording audio. So thanks for sticking with us with the audio if you're listening to that.
All right. Well, that's it.
I was going to start the show by saying, are you down with OCD? Yeah, you know me. But then I decided to open my can instead, and then I forgot about the OCD. Yeah, you know me thing.
I'd rate that a 6 out of 10.
Do you know the song?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
6.5 or 7, I think.
6.
Thank you guys for listening.
Take a walk. I need to do that still today, and have some water.